Ghana Football Association, the man who was ascending the throne of the third highest top personality at the Confederation of African Football, the newly appointed second vice president of the Confederation of African Football. Of course, he also doubles as the president of the Ghana Football Association, the outstanding Mr. Edwin, Simeon, Okraku, to have a conversation about his life, where he came from, what he's brought on board, and where Ghana football and African football aspires to go under his stable leadership. Mr. Okraku, thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. You're most welcome.
Okay, so let's start from the beginning. Can you take us back to where your journey in football began?
Somebody would say in the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God. In the beginning was obviously football, and football was with me. Just to joke a bit, but I think that I was born into football, to be honest. My grandfather obviously playing a pivotal role in that history, dating back centuries ago. And then as a young boy, obviously my dad, even though wanted to see me go through formal education, also brought me to the Accra Sports Stadium to see the late G.S. Woodley of blessed memory, who was then the boss of the National Sports Authority, to introduce me to him and to introduce me to. So that was the beginning, and then I took natural interest in football. It's well dotted in history that from 15, 16, 17 years, as young as I was, I had my own football club, Shooting Stars of New Achimota, where I invested my coins in the young boys. We played in the Achimota Coast League. Even though I was the owner, I was also the captain. I was the coach. I was actually everything. And to be honest, at this point in time, the strong person behind me at that time was my mom. She encouraged me to play football. She encouraged me to invest in the kids. At that time, she was providing food for all of us, all the kids, from the woods of Accra, who joined my team at that time. My dad never wanted me to play at that time. He wanted me to be in school, and he always frowned on me going out with the boys to go and play. But once you had one person supporting and the other not supporting, you always found a way to have your way, so to say. So it was quite interesting, and I think at that point I really enjoyed my game. Let me say that I was not the best of talents, to be honest. I pushed through. I was very hardworking, and that was the story.
Right. Okay. So, what inspired your passion for the game? Was it a childhood influence, or something that you grew into over time?
I think, like I said, it was natural because I was born into it. I loved it, and then my crave for African sports, then owned by the legendary Okraku, obviously also put me into football, because I invested the money for school, for my feeding in school, into the pages of African sports almost every week. Not only to read about the game, but also to learn English. At that time, Okraku obviously was a reference point at the time, and I spent quite a sizable number of the little coins that I had to buy his newspaper, and that kept me in the sports for many years.
Now, before administration, Mr. President, did you ever dream of playing professionally? I mean, before you ventured into full-scale administration, was there a point that you dreamed of playing football?
I think I was very honest to myself at that time. I played with all the stars around New Achimota at that time, but I was honest to tell myself that I was not the most talented. not many people can say that to themselves. I was very hardworking, to tell you the truth, but I was not a talent like Winfred Dorman was a talent. I played with Winfred Dorman, even though he was very young, much younger than I was, but I played with him, and he was a super talent at that time. I was not one. I was not, and so I knew I would not find myself in.
Yeah, I can understand the connection between yourself.
No. Myself and Don go back into time. We've been together for many decades, and I mean, he was a super talent, no doubt, in our time.
But at what point, Mr. President, did you realize that football administration was really your calling? I mean, there are people who are, we say they are pastors, they were called, others say they were bankers. At what point did you realize that venturing in football administration was really, really what you were brought on this earth to do?
I think at a point in time, I left Ghana to Europe to study. After my stints on radio in Ghana and in the print media, and in England, I studied hospitality management. I studied IT. Then I had a chance to be enrolled at the business school of Liverpool, where I had to study the business of football. And at that time, I realized that, look, this is where I belong to. Studying football and the business of football, getting the chance to network with industry players at that time. And that really, really opened my eyes to loads of happenings in the world of football. And I said to myself that this is the pathway. And ever since, I've not looked back. Studying, and being involved in the game at every given opportunity. So I think that was the turning point.
But how did your educational and professional experience really prepare you for leadership in sports, in football specifically?
Well, I think that in life we're taught from day one that one of the key pathways is to be educated, is to go to school. And when you find yourself in school, you find where your heart belongs, and then you pursue your dream that will give you a career pathway. So for me, it was not a surprise. I had been involved in football at a tender age. And once I got admitted to the Liverpool Business School to study the business of football, I knew that was the way. And naturally, the talent in me soared up, and I pursued the dream. So and that has been the story. I think that it was only natural that with my love for football, my passion for football, and having studied sports marketing, having studied journalism, having studied hospitality management, having been enrolled at a business school in Liverpool, it was only natural that I pursued that dream, and I've kept that dream up to today.
So we are talking to the president of the Ghana Football Association and the second vice president. That excites me a lot of the Confederation of African Football, Mr. Edwin, Simeon, Okraku. This is more of a personality discussion with the big boss. But Mr. President, let's talk about Ghana football really. And could you just walk us through the journey with Ghana football, how it started, how you rose to become the leader of Ghanaian football, such an area position in Ghana?
Well, I think that at a point in time, like I've said, I was in England to study. And then I remember after the MBA in football, I applied for some jobs, specifically to be the CEO of the Manchester Football Association, and I was turned down. Okay, and once I was turned down, I was so disappointed, and I said to myself that, look, I don't belong to this territory. I don't think that I'll have good opportunities staying in England. So I decided to come home, unfortunately. Back home, I got a chance to serve with the League Clubs Association, Kalka. And then there were some problems along the line. And then I just said to myself, look, it's time to step out and to develop my own product here to talk about Dreams FC. And that's how come the story of Dreams FC started to unfold in 2008, 2009. And then, obviously, along the way, I got a chance to serve in the management committee of Hearts of Oak as the man in charge of communications and marketing. And then fast forward, I contested for the ESCO elections on the Division 1 slot. And from 48 votes, I had 38. So far, and by far the highest to have been recorded in our history in recent times. So I got a chance to serve on the ESCO of the Football Association of Ghana during the tenure of President Kwesi Nyantakyi. And then beyond that, obviously we went through the crisis. Our tenure was aborted. And then there was normalization committee, fast forward elections. And I remember on a trip to Madrid in Spain, I had a discussion with my brother Mohamed Jiji Alifo about the possibility of contesting for the leadership of the Football Association. After a long period of thinking, whilst we were in Spain, we decided to put our candidature forward. The rest is history, and I think that over time we have served the Ghanaian game to the best of our ability. We do believe that there's a lot more that has to be done, that ought to be done. But what is important is that we are very much committed towards this cause, and we will serve our football people to the best that we can.
I mean, rising up from your decision to leave Galka, form Dreams FC, that obviously took you to the Executive Council, for instance, Mr. President. I want to understand, I mean, you had the highest vote, you've always had the highest vote already, but what were some of the key or defining moments for you as far as you are concerned during the time that you served as an executive committee or now council member of the Football Association?
Well, I don't know what I can remember is back in time though, but for me, my passion was to serve, to be honest, and to serve the leadership of President Kwesi Nyantakyi at that time. I was so eager to give back to Ghana what I had gotten or I had been blessed with in Europe. So my passion was to serve football. Fortunately, President Nyantakyi offered me the chance by putting me on the FA Cup committee. And it's interesting to say that I played a key part in getting MTN to partner the FA from day one, by way of the sponsorship that we entered into with MTN. So I served the FA Cup committee as a member. Then I rose up to be the vice, and eventually I became the chairman of the committee, which I served to the best of my ability. I was also given a chance to serve on the CHAN as the chairman once upon a time, and that was the story. What I would say is that at any point in time that I've been offered a chance to serve, I've done my very best for the Ghanaian game. At all times, my wish has always been to show quality, to show leadership, and to offer something new to the football ecosystem. I think that the Ghanaian game has always been stale, and there's always the need for us to play outside the box, to bring in new ideas, to bring energy into the football space, and that's always my vision. And that's been the story. Beyond that, I have served now as a president, and I try and I'll continue to push my vision through to the people.
Mr. President, your tenure as the chairman of the FA Cup committee and how it evolved is well documented. I don't want to go back to it, but looking back at your GFA campaign and the early presidency, what were your top priorities then, Mr. President, and do you think that it has evolved? What are your top priorities then, and where are we now?
So coming into the context and being far away from the seats, just like anybody else, you have your ideas, you have how you perceive issues at the FA from afar. But I was not in doubt at that time that there was a lot that one has to do to revive the sport and to ensure that Ghana not only creates a football ecosystem that is interesting, but also competitive. Okay, and that belief has always stayed with me. As to whether we've been able to arrive at that vision 100% is another issue altogether. But I don't think that I'm still far away from my thoughts in 2019 and my thoughts today.
All right, so we are having an exclusive interview with the president of the Ghana Football Association, the second vice president of the Confederation of African Football. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we talk about his interventions and impact since he became the leader of Ghanaian football. I talked about the fact that you talk about Ghana football under your leadership, but what has been your overarching vision for Ghanaian football? I mean, your general vision for Ghanaian football when you took office?
Well, I think that the foremost was and has been to revive the sport, because with the passage of time, it looks like we all forget where the sport was when we were given a chance to serve. We took over a dead sport, a sport that had been damaged, a sport whose image had been lost, and a sport that needed heavy investment. This was the state of our football, and therefore we accepted the challenge, and we knew from day one that there was a need for us to stay together. There was a need of hard work to be invested in that revival journey, and that has been the vision. Again, the vision has been not only to revive the sport, but to create a very sustainable football ecosystem. And to be able to do that, we knew that it would take time. We also knew that to arrive at this destination, we'll have highs and lows. We also knew that we needed every stakeholder, private sector, public sector, the government, the football family, to stay together, to work together, to arrive at that desired destination. And that has been the vision. I don't think that we have ever thought about departing from this vision, but arriving at this vision is always a challenge. But I think we are very steadfast in our belief that we will indeed arrive at the said destination.
One of the things that you've spoken about copiously is the fact that having a close relationship with you over the years is your honesty, Mr. President. You've always made the point that you want to be remembered as a leader who was honest with the people, whether it was in bad times or in good times. And that for me is quite exciting. Why is it that for you leadership is all about honesty?
I think that in the life of everybody, especially when you're given a chance to serve, you are continuously asked about a legacy. What do you want people to remember you for? What do you want to leave behind? Okay, and I'm sure that naturally people will speak about all the need areas in the football ecosystem that has to be fixed. Okay, yes, I'm not disputing that we need to pay attention to those need areas. Yes, I'm not disputing the fact that we have to fix those problems involved in football. But it's also important that you leave something which may be intangible, but most important. And here, I continuously speak about the fact that I want to be remembered for my honesty, not only to football, but to the football family. Okay, I want the football family to remember me for what I say and for what I have done. Okay, and once I speak about the issues in the public space, it continues to stay in the public space. It becomes a reference point. And I want people to remember what I say and what I have done. And at all times, I want to do exactly what I have said I will do. Okay? And at all times, I want my family in the football space to remember me for being very direct, whether in good times, whether in bad times. They should remember that, look, I was honest to them in bad times, I was honest to them in good times. And that should be, for me, that should be the reference point that will make me extremely happy.
Now, several structural and technical reforms have been observed, Mr. President. What has guided your interventions as president of the Football Association?
I think that the need areas of our sport, or let me put it this way, the identified need areas of our sport has always guided the interventions that we have rolled out. Okay, when you are with people, when you are given the chance to serve, you need to know the people. You need to know your people. You need to know what strategies, what policies to roll out to make their industry or their lives much better. Okay, and I think that over time we have studied the football ecosystem. We've gotten to know our people much better, for which reason our strategic interventions and support has always been tailored along those lines. And here, what it means is that we are being honest to the people. Okay, honesty here, knowing the people and meeting them at the point of their needs. Okay, and that. So if you look at all the strategies, all the policies that we have rolled out, whether by way of introduction of competitions, whether by way of introduction of policies, regulations, support systems, it's always been targeted. Okay, and I think that in this modern era, that should always be the way to go.
A lot of results have been achieved, and quite groundbreaking ones. But what are some of them that you sit back and feel extremely proud about, despite the gamut of achievement? What are some of the ones that you can actually sit back and say that I'm proud of what we've been able to achieve?
Well, I do not know whether I can easily play back all the milestones that we have achieved. However, I would always speak about the intangibles, some of which I know people don't pay too much attention, but in my honest estimation, most important. Okay, the revival of cold football across the country, for me, is very important. Our partnership with FIFA for the introduction of the talent identification program is so crucial. Our establishment of the three elite football academies in the Upper East, in the Greater Accra region, and in the Ashanti region, for me, is key. Our establishment and introduction of the age-specific youth national teams is key in our developmental agenda. Our investment in the provision of free coaching licenses to coaches who work within the COLS space is key. Our investment and introduction in the academy young refereeing policy is also crucial for the development of the sport. Like I said, the introduction of the age-specific youth national teams, U15, U16, U17, U18, up to U23, and the A national teams is key for the development of our football. So these are the intangibles that people do not really pay attention to. But most importantly, also, along the same lines, the introduction and maintenance of youth competitions. Okay, we have introduced U15 Boys and Girls Inter-District Festival. We have introduced U15 Boys and Girls National Championship. We have introduced U17 Boys and Girls National Championship. And then this year we have introduced the Elite U19 Boys Championship. Okay, these are key policies that places premium on youth development, and that ensures that we have a continuous production of talent, super talents in the production chain that will feed into the A national teams. So at the end, you realize that it would have created a very sustainable football ecosystem that would ensure that continuously we are up there in terms of development of the intangible assets. And naturally, our national teams will become more competitive. And when the national teams become competitive, we win games and we win trophies. That's why I've always said that the big trophies will be won sometime very soon.
Absolutely, Mr. President. There's been a lot of talk about, a lot of work relative to grassroots development and grassroots football. How are we balancing grassroots development and elite performance? Because as much as we are dealing with grassroots football, we also need to get results at the top level. How are we able to balance
So
this?
I think that it's a big challenge because for most Ghanaians, it's the results at the apex of the production line which is most important. And therefore, you would also see that even though we have invested heavily in youth development, even though we've paid a lot of attention to youth football, youth development, we're also not losing sight of the fact that our Black Wings have to deliver. Our Black Stars have to deliver, for which reason we continue to pay attention to the two A national teams. And the Black Wings have been on the ascendancy. I think that they are in the right way. We are back to the AFCON, which we didn't make it the last time. And we're looking forward to they performing very well at the AFCON. The Black Stars have had a not too stable performance. But I think that our clarion call to the entire sporting populace to be supportive of the Black Stars have yielded good results. Now the confidence of the boys seem to be back. And with the level of the investment we're making in youth football development, with the level of investment we're making in talent development, I think that the production of intangible assets to the Black Stars would continue, and that will make the team much stronger in the coming years. And in immediate terms, I think that we are now in a situation where our team is a lot more stable. And once the team is stable, we should have stable performances coming through.
But we talk about investments, and let me dovetail to women's football. Without a shadow of doubt, it's been quite huge gap in terms of how it has been revived, like a lot of investment according to women's football. But Mr. President, tell me about the efforts and investment really in women's football and youth development, which has been at the beckoning of the presidency.
So in 2019, I made a commitment to support the growth of women's football. And ever since, I think that the sport has been on the rise. The Women's Premier League, for the first time, was shown live on free-to-air TV. We had Guinness Ghana coming on board as a key partner, as a headline sponsor for the Women's Premier League. Of course, TV ensured massive exposure. Our relationship with Decathlon also ensured that the girls have footballs to play and all sporting equipment to use. Each of the teams have over the seasons received minimum 30 footballs per season. We've also extended the supply of free category A Puma boots to our female players. At a point in time, they also enjoy stipends from YEA. We provided not only jerseys to our female clubs, but also monetary incentives to our clubs. We provided them with also shopping vouchers from Melcom, etc., etc. Also fuel. So I think that the overall support for women's football has improved over time. I do believe that there's a lot more that can be done for our female sport. We also offered opportunities to the key industry players to serve on various committees of the Football Association. This was one of my commitment towards women's football from day one, and we have followed that judiciously. So, particularly, I'm very happy about how we have invested steadily in the women's game, with a key promise that once we have more resources, we will continue to invest in the game. Unfortunately, the black maidens were banned, but they are now on their way back. Princesses have been good, both on the African continent and continuously making it at the World Cup. The Black Wings are back to the AFCON where they belong to. And we've also opened the channels via the other different international teams. So I think that overall we are very much in a very good way.
All right, I want to ask you about the current state of the various national teams, but I think that you've already delved into it. But this is the GFA's communications exclusive interview with the president of the Ghana Football Association, Mr. Edwin, Simeon, Okraku. When we come back, we talk about national team and performance. We will talk about his tenure as WAFU president. We will look at his role now as the second vice president of CAF, as well as his legacy, leadership, and the future. Okay, so welcome back, Mr. President. We are still on national teams and performance, and I want to find out from you what has been the strategic thinking behind the appointment of coaches and technical staff in recent years.
I think that when obviously it comes to national teams, we have two sets or two types: the competitive, the 10 competitive national teams, and the 10 non-competitive national teams. Competitive here means the national teams that compete in either the WAFU, CAF, or FIFA competitions. And the other ones are those who we have put together to ensure gradual progression of players from one age category to the next age category, and who are normally put together, given football tuition, and play in friendly games or in tournaments. I think that the overall vision for all national teams is to build good national teams, is to provide them with a good working environment, and is for them to be very, very competitive. That has been the vision, and that vision has never changed. Indeed, over time, we've had a blend of both good stories and bad stories, and that's very natural with national team development. But one thing is clear: we want to have a lot more good stories than a lot more bad stories. That is the vision of the FA, and we continue to work towards that. I think that we will deliver with the right levels of support, good results over time, because of the systems and processes that we have put in place, and I'm very, very confident about this.
All right, so how do you see Ghana's competitiveness evolving in continental and global tournaments?
Like I said, I wish that for every tournament that we are involved, we come out victors. But I also know that this is not cast in stone, for which reason we have to continuously persevere that vision, and to ensure that we are not only competitive at all times, but to give ourselves a chance of winning trophies. We've not won the big trophies in a long while, and I think that if we have one singular ambition or vision, is to win more trophies for Ghana.
Unfortunately, we will not be at AFCON this year, but hopefully we will be at the World Cup. What are the expectations of this upcoming World Cup cycle? We have not qualified yet, but we are really in good stead to qualify.
Well, I think that like you rightly said, We didn't make it to the AFCON. It's something that I don't want to remember at all. But as a Christian, I would always give thanks to God in whatever situation I find myself. We still have a good chance to make it to the Mundial. And I think that when we gather again in September, the clarion call will be for everybody in this country to rally around a flag of Ghana and to show support to our Black Stars, because I think that they do need our support, and with the right level of support from all of us, they will take us back to the world stage.
Now, let me parachute from Ghana and land straight in Cote d'Ivoire. That's the headquarters of WAFU, Mr. President. You serve as president of WAFU. You've already signaled the intention and start the processes of handing over to a new leader following your elevation to the Confederation of African Football. But what were your major goals going into that role at WAFU? I mean, you have been stupendous, but can you walk us through your goals when you were offered a chance to serve the sub-region?
I think that my priority was to bring the membership of the zone together. My priority has been to reignite the passion amongst the member associations in the zone. My priority was and has been to bring back our tournaments and to make sure that all our MAs are interested in competing in our tournaments. And most importantly, my goal was and has been to find a good new home for the headquarters of the zone. And I think that over time that I've been given a chance to serve, we have ticked the boxes. We also had big HR problems when I took office. Fortunately, with Felipe as a new executive director, we've been able to fix those HR problems. And now we see a very structured, a very, very well-led WAFU Zone B. Okay, we now have a new headquarters, which was inaugurated some few weeks ago. The quality of our staff has improved over time. Our competitions have run as expected. We've done minimum 5 competitions in a year, which is quite high for the zone. We've done loads of capacity building for our member associations and even colleagues from the other zones. So I think that the leadership led by my good self and my 2 deputies from Nigeria and Burkina Faso have worked so well in bringing the zone to the level that we are today.
I think that you took the wind out of the sail, because I wanted to ask about tangible, but clearly I have seen the new headquarters myself. I have been there myself. I've experienced the new headquarters myself, Mr. President. But let me move from there and ask you about how do you see WAFU shaping up the whole African football horoscope?
I think that when we speak about WAFU, we speak about a powerful house, a powerful family, a family that not only produces some of the very best intangible assets in players, but a family that has produced some of the best administrators also on the African continent. I have said that if you doubt the quality in the zone, just switch on your TV and you see the quality of the zone. So I think that it's been good. We will continue to be key players within that space, and hopefully the new leadership that will be taking over will also pursue the agenda of ensuring that WAFU stays very united, WAFU stays very strong, and WAFU is competitive in all competitions that we find ourselves.
Well, congratulations on the appointment as second vice president of CAF.
Thank you.
How did this opportunity come about?
Well, to be honest, if you ask me, I don't know. What I do know is that I have served football my entire life. I've given the very best of my good self to football. And this has not only been recognized in Ghana, this has not only been recognized in West Africa, but this has been recognized now in Africa, and I'm humbled by this opportunity.
What are your personal ambitions and responsibilities as you assume this high-profile position, Mr. President?
Well, my ambition is to serve football. My ambition is to serve the CAF President Patrice Motsepe. My ambition is to serve the 54 member associations on the African continent. And my vision is to serve football in general. I think that once I'm blessed with this opportunity, I need to make the best out of it. And like I said, to be honest to football, and to be honest to my president, who has given me this opportunity to serve, and to be honest to my ESCO, who have reposed their confidence in my good self.
Mr. President, Ghanaians are hugely expectant, and that emanates from the razzmatazz that characterize this exciting news as being named as the second vice president of CAF. How do you intend to leverage this for the benefit of Ghanaians, first of all, and then the African football?
I know that my countrymen and women are very expectant. I know that the Ghanaian football industry is very expectant. I know that my family in WAFU are very expectant. And I also know that all members from the 54 member associations are very expectant. And to be able to meet their expectations, I only ask for their prayers. Because as human as I am, I'm willing to do my very best, but I'll need their prayers to stay strong and to believe in the vision of the president and the entire leadership of CAF, and to be able to deliver undiluted services to football at that level. What I know is that I'll be honest to football. What I do know is that I'll be honest to my president. And what I do know is that I'll give 1 million % to football, so long as I'm alive.
You always do. And it's like the point that you made about the fact that Ghanaians are expectant. Everybody's expectant, Mr. President. I am equally expectant, Mr. President. But moving to another question that I need to ask Mr. President, what broader changes you really would you like to champion within CAF? Is about the governance structure, about youth development, about infrastructure. These are all things that I give it that
I think that President Motsepe is very clear on his vision for football. All 5 of us who have been given a chance to serve as vice presidents have a duty to support his vision, not my vision. And therefore, I'll give his vision 1 million % of support to ensure that he achieves all his heart desires during the second term as a leader of our football. For me, that's most important. My vision is for Ghana football. The vision for African football is the vision of the president of the Confederation of African Football. And I intend to support him with all the knowledge that I'm blessed with.
4 more questions to the president, and then we can leave you. Thank you for having us there. But football has clearly been a lifelong journey for you. But on a personal level, how does it feel to serve at this level?
I am very excited, to be honest. I'm still coming to terms about this amazing opportunity to serve in this strategic space. And I think that I'll give it my best shot ever. Again, I would want to be remembered for my honesty to football and to leadership. And my promise is that I will give off my best to the game. And hopefully people people will appreciate what I bring to the table.
Yes, Dr. Honesty and all that, but what would you want to be remembered for when you leave the scene as the president of the Football Association and potentially come as in years to come? Because nobody knows tomorrow, you made a point already.
As the president of the Ghana FA, we are laying a very solid foundation for the growth of the Ghanaian game. We are investing in infrastructure. We are investing in the growth of the domestic leagues. When you take a look at the Division 1 league of today, you agree with me how it has grown over time. It's because of the investments that we have made. For the first time, we have 2 Division 1 clubs in the semi-finals of the MTN FA Cup. And this is a very big one. People are not taking notice, but the Division 1 level is getting close and closer to the Premier League. So what is guaranteed is that there will be 1 Division 1 club in the grand finale of the MTN FA Cup and a potential candidate to represent Ghana in the Confederations Cup competition. Okay, women's football is growing, coach football is back and growing. Regional leagues are growing. First time in many decades, we had 8 players from the second division league representing Ghana at the U20 national team level and competed in the WAFU competition. Okay, there's a big milestone for the Ghanaian game. So I think that God willing, I'll be remembered for laying a very good foundation. I know people want me to speak about winning of the big trophies. I think posterity will judge us, all of us, when the time comes. And just like we do remember people who have served in this space, I know and I believe and I trust in the Almighty God that we will be remembered for all the good things that has happened. That will happen to football.
I am extremely confident that posterity will be very kind to you for all the great stuff that you brought to Ghana football. Mr. President, what advice, this is my penultimate question before we wrap up, what advice do you have for young Africans who are aspiring to work in football administration? What advice do you have for them?
I'll first of all say that, first of all, nothing is impossible in life. Once you dedicate yourself towards a cause, once you believe in God, once you're honest to the people you work with and to the people you work for, and you continue on that pathway of hard work, you won't realize your dream. And when it is that you do realize your dream, make sure that you leave a positive impact on whoever you come along with or whoever you come across with. For me, that's the way.
Your final words to Ghanaians, your final words to the African people, and for people who love football, for those who don't even love football, what is your takeaway?
Well, the journey to fix the Ghanaian game, the journey to ignite passion, the journey that seeks to fixing the fundamentals of our sport involves hard work, involves leadership taking tough decisions. And in taking tough decisions, I am very sure that we have people who are happy, and we have people who will be happy. For those who have become unhappy because of the tough decisions that we have taken for the good of the game, I wholeheartedly apologize. For the people who have not been touched negatively by some of the decisions that we have taken, we must continue on that pathway. What's most important is that all of us belong to one family. We're a football family brought together by football. And because of the uniqueness of football, it's always important for us to stay together, to continue to consume football. I believe that that's the only way we can ensure the growth of a sport that brings us happiness, that brings us economic resources, and that brings us stardom. I will continue to open my doors to everybody who believes in the vision, and even for those who do not believe in the vision, but have other minds to share with me. I think that let's stay together, let's come together, let's believe in our way, and ensure that we contribute a little towards the growth of the Ghanaian game. This is the way, and I pray that the Almighty God will bless our hard work. Almighty God will keep us together and ensure that our little contributions, our little sacrifices of today will give us a better tomorrow as individuals and as a family.
Mr. President, you took over Ghana football in 2019 at the time that the football has rounded to ground zero. You have steered the ship to a beautiful state. There have been ups and downs, but we are excited with the progress of Ghanaian football and really excited about the future. Thank you very much. On behalf of the communication team, we are grateful for the opportunity. And we spoke to the president of the Ghana Football Association and, of course, the new second vice president of the Confederation of African Football. He has a mandate between now and 2029. Thank you very much.